Good morning. How's everybody doing today? Welcome to J-OneHundred TV. Where we are going to check out news headlines, videos, tweets, posts, figure out what's going on, talk about it, rap about it, chat about it. Yeah, maybe even play some games one of these days. How's everybody doing? I'm all right. I'm good. I'm hanging in there. Monday morning, you know, beginning of the week. Haven't had my coffee yet. I don't even drink coffee. See, I was gonna name this show Good Morning, and listen, I know people feel. Let me turn this music down. I know people have their feelings about that name, even back when I did it on Twitch. But I don't care. I like that name because it's a play on good morning. I don't drink coffee. If I were to drink anything, I would drink tea. I figured I like tea. I want to get into tea. I know there's tea shops. I always wanted to do something where I bring like the community or like local businesses into it so we can highlight them, kind of do like a tea review, you know what I mean? So like every morning I would have my different tea and I'm like, all right, today I'm drinking, you know, I don't know, whatever tea from wherever place. So that's my thing in the morning. If I were to drink something in the morning, I'm a tea guy. But I'm not doing good morning. I'm gonna just keep it J-OneHundred for right now. Because realistically, the name doesn't matter. Okay? The name does not matter. Because what truly matters is kinda what's going on in the world right now, you know? And right now, currently, I mean, personally, I don't know where anybody wants to start. I don't think I have anybody in chat yet. So what I was going to do as kind of like a palate cleanser, you know, build things up before we get into it. There's a couple things that I saw that I want to quickly highlight, because I am excited for them. Zendaya and Tom Holland are married. What? When did this happen? Yo, that's so crazy. Listen, I'm big Zendaya and Tom Holland fans. I appreciate how talented they are artistically. They are such a beautiful, just like couples goals type of couple, you know what I mean? And I personally, even though I keep up on like movies and the MCU and nerdy stuff like that, you know, whatever, I don't really care too much about the celebrity of it all. Maybe like when people were treated unfairly, like Jonathan Majors, but then at the same time, you know, I don't like to hitch my wagon onto them, because then they disappoint you, like Jonathan Majors. But we ain't talking about that fool right now. What we're talking about right now is Zendaya and Tom Holland are married. I don't even know article wise where to. Let's go to Huffington Post. I guess that's a good place to go. Up. We're gonna have to archive this one. Hold on. We're gonna have to archive. Blah. All right, yeah, I forgot, because the one thing I like about ground news is obviously you get your different sources. The bad thing that I don't like about ground news is I'm not paying for no subscriptions to no news articles, man. Not happening. Waiting for archive to archive. But anyway, so in the meantime, Let's go to CNN, I guess. Zendaya and Tom Holland are married in secret, man, and that makes it even better. You know what I mean? Now, listen, this is a weird celebrity team to put myself on, but I'm only on this team for this certain scenario. Overall, in the situation, I don't know this prior couple's relationship, and I don't know their agreements. I don't know none of that stuff. But I'll tell you, when it comes to like celebrity weddings and things such as that, I feel that the couples who do it privately or like secretly, or even if it's like public, like they just, it's like a private public, like about it, but you ain't getting in until until everything is done, then maybe you'll see the pictures afterwards, something like that. I like those type of celebrity weddings. That is reasonable to me, and to me it makes it feel like it's a real marriage, because a lot of the stuff that these celebrities do is fake. Like, come on now. So with that said, Zendaya and Tom doing it secretly, I think just adds to the beauty and mystique of this couple. So actors Zendaya and Tom Holland have tied the knot at a secret wedding ceremony, according to Zendaya's stylist, Laura Roach. Speaking on the red carpet at the 2026 SAG Actor Awards in Los Angeles on Sunday, Roach told media outlet Access Hollywood that the wedding has already happened. "You missed it," said Roach, who has been working with Zendaya for more than a decade. Zendaya and Holland, who are both 29, met in 2017 while filming Spider-Man: Homecoming, and their chemistry on the film's press tour led to speculation that they were romantically involved. However, it wasn't until July 2021 that the relationship was confirmed, when the couple were photographed kissing in Holland's car. Since then, Tom Daya have kept their relationship largely out of the spotlight, only occasionally sharing snapshots of it in interviews or on social media, which love it. They've managed to do so despite the fact that they've become two of Hollywood's biggest stars. Zendaya has recently appeared in blockbuster movies such as Dune Part 2 and Challengers, and Holland plays Peter Parker in the Marvel franchise Spider-Man. The sight of the diamond ring, ooh, let me see it. Come on. Ooh, okay, Tom. I see you, Tom. Okay, I like it. All right, listen. As someone who plans on getting a ring one of these days very soon, I like the style. I don't know if my girl likes that style, but I'm not an expert. But the size of the rock, your girl can flaunt the finger around as she's doing in this lovely photo. Man, I'm so happy for them. I mean, that's just a go. And I hope it's one of those couples. Like, to be honest with you, I know this is like a weird aside, but Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones they've been married for like how long? Like 30 something years? Hold on. Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones. They've been married since marriage. They've been married since 2000. I thought it was like 98. But 25 years? Hey, listen, when it comes to the celebrity stuff, again, I really don't care. But a lot of people do care. A lot of people hitch. I don't agree with this at all. And this is definitely a topic that can be spoken about and debated one of these days. But I don't understand the level at which people get ingrained with like celebrity life, like the people who chase the royals. I've never understood that. You're the reason why they're still around, to be honest with you. If there wasn't such a fascination with the royals, I think the royal family would have been alleviated by now. But regardless, I'm happy for Tom and Zendaya. But before we get into the doom and gloom of it all, oh, I archived an article, then I didn't even look at it, and I clicked away from it. Oh well. There is another celebrity couple that I care about. That I want to highlight. My man, Charles Leclerc, got married to his longtime girlfriend and fiance, Alexandra Leclerc. Now, I am a huge motorsports and F1 racing fan. And currently right now, my team is Ferrari because my man, my ace boon coon, the GOAT, Lewis Hamilton is over there. But as someone who has always wanted to be a race car driver, has still dreams of getting into motorsports in some way, shape, or form. Call that childish. I do not care. I love cars. I love racing. I love the concept of it. I love the motorcraft of it all. So I understand the struggles and the pain and sacrifice and all that stuff that even though a lot of these guys are like rich, snobby, Nepo kids or whatever, the effort and hard work that you have to go through in order to become a race car driver in general, but a Formula One race car driver is immense. And I could never take that away from anyone. I mean, we make the jokes about Lance Stroll, but even though Lance Stroll is probably the Nepo, you know, is babies of the Nepo babies. Even Lance Stroll, I have to give my respect to the time, effort, and hard work he's put in to get to the position that he's got into, even though he probably doesn't deserve a spot on that team anymore, which would probably keep him out of the sport. But that's a Formula One conversation. I'm here for the Leclercs. Look at beautiful couple. Beautiful couple. I mean, and another reason why I'm so happy about this couple in particular is because it's real. This is legit. This is a legit couple. If you've ever wanted couples goals, guys, if you ever wanted to see an example of what it's like of a celebrity and how, you know, how they would treat their girl or whatever, Charles Leclerc. Just look up anything you possibly can about them going out, their dates, all that kind of stuff. Like Charles Leclerc is an example of a man treating his woman the way a woman want their man to treat them, and they're getting married, and I'm so happy for it. So Charles Leclerc has announced his, this is an engagement. No, this is wrong. No, article. They are married. I wanted the marriage image. Hold on. Where's the car? There they go. There it is. There it is. Oh, see, now I don't even read the article. I don't even know where this article is from. But it doesn't matter. I think my article and how I broke them down is a lot better than what these articles, because the articles are going to be like, oh, they met in 2000. Nah, forget that. Forget how they met. You want to see a man treat his woman right? Charles Leclerc. Now, everyone's not a famous F1 driver, but you may not be able to go on the dates, but you are able to treat them like that. So I know that, you know, everybody's got their strengths and weaknesses, and I got things to work on myself. But as a goal, that's the person I look up to. I wanna get to that level, and I try to be at that level when I can. Again, like I said, not everybody's perfect. All right. So, good news aside, I guess let's get into it. I don't even know where I want to begin with this. Let's go to CNN real quick. The reason why I want to go to CNN real quick, because I like the way that they lay out what is happening. But they didn't lay out what's happening. They're not really, because there's not much to talk about outside of the fact that it's happening still. So let's then go to AP news. I guess let's back up to yesterday. I streamed until about 7 yesterday. So let's kind of catch up from around that time. So I streamed 1 killed, 7 injured in drone strike on airport in Abu Dhabi. Morning, nuclear watchdog to hold emergency session. Ooh, what's this one about? The board of governors of the International Atomic Energy Agency will convene a special session at the headquarters in Vienna on Monday morning, following requests from the Russian Federation, the UN nuclear watchdog said in a press release. In a diplomatic note dated February 28th, and seen by the Associated Press, Russia's permanent mission to the international organizations in Vienna requested the convening of the special sessions on matters related to military strikes of the United States and Israel against the territory of the Islamic Republic of Iran. So even though I am strongly against all of these actions that are being had and held and done and conducted and whatever adverb you want to use, I know for a fact that we aren't going to use nuclear weapons because I think we're too pussy to do that. Number one, this administration specifically. But then number two, I think based off of it being used once in war, or not once, but the times that they were used in World War II and what that's done and what that looks like, and to be honest with you, why we don't have a worse reputation in the world for doing that is a little besides me. And maybe historical illiteracy and things such as that, but I think we truly believe as a, if being serious, you know what I mean? Like if we're looking at this as a true American diplomatic policy, I think we truly believe nuclear weapons are a deterrent, considering that they were developed before we were born at this point. So I understand why, as a diplomatic policy, the hawkish United States don't want to use, or don't want their adversaries, I should say, to have access to nuclear weapons, or to be able to build them, or to be able to stockpile them, or the stockpiles that they have, you know, lower their numbers. I don't think that that's a meeting that needs to have. So, you know, where did it go? The nuclear watchdog, you want to have an emergency session. I believe that is something that should happen. I don't think that's something that will happen. But depending on how this goes, because that's what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for in these articles that we're going to be scrolling past, looking up, breaking it down as we get into the war part of it, is how long this is going to last, because it said it wasn't going to last long. I'm going to be looking for the Senate and what they're talking about. I mean, because it's 10:30, I'm pretty sure that they've been out and about, walking around, talking to the news network since yesterday. So I want to see what's going on with them, and I want to see if there's any more justification. I want to see how they continue to spin this. Let's see. New Zealand says U.S. was meant to stop. What? New Zealand says the U.S. and Israeli attacks were designed to prevent the Iranian regime from threatening international peace and security. And again, I mentioned this on Saturday. I am not currently right now, even though I am anti-war and I am anti what this administration is and what this administration is doing, I want to know from anyone who is supporting this, anyone in a serious conversation manner, not even trying to be adversarial. I'm looking at this in good faith. Outside of the boogeyman brown Islamic people, what threatening of international peace specifically has Iran been doing in a timeline in the last, I'll give you, to make it easy so you don't have to do much work, the last 3 months? Please break it down for me. New Zealand, you know, the congressmen and senators that we looked at their responses to on Saturday, and the president. Please, somebody, head Seth, somebody tell me what these threats are that you're talking about. I just would like to know for my own personal well-being. New Zealand has consistently condemned Iran's nuclear program, okay, its destabilizing activities in the region and elsewhere, and its repression of its own people. So we need to do a preemptive attack? Oh, okay. New Zealand Prime Minister Christopher Luxon and Foreign Minister Winston Peters said in a joint statement, Iran has for decades defied the will and expectations of the international community. The legitimacy of a government rests on the support of its people. The Iranian regime has long since lost that support. In this context, we acknowledge that the actions taken overnight by the U.S. and Israel were designed to prevent Iran from continuing to threaten international peace and security. So again, fluff, bullshit. Because on a specific level, what are we talking about? So are we saying that anytime people have a disagreement with their government, the biggest military or the most aggressive military in the world, I wouldn't say biggest, but the most aggressive, well-funded military in the world has to go and bomb you recklessly? Is that what this means? Like, this is the reason why I would like these world leaders and our leaders to be a little bit more specific about these things that they're talking about. Me personally, all right, I'm looking at, again, I may be looking at this maybe a little bit further past your normal news scroller or whatnot, but I'm a news scroller because I like to stay informed. And from staying informed, I kind of get the gist of the platitudes that you've been talking already. All right. So if you're going to go on Meet the Press, if you're going to go on, you know, these other shows and talk policy and get in the weeds then, because these platitudes aren't enough. I want to know what Iran has been doing, which has been capitulating from what I've seen and what the administration and, you know, these other world leaders have been saying. So all of a sudden, the Iranian regime is you know, not following through with its obligations that they agreed to. That way, if I remember correctly, the Trump administration dismantled, because we already had an agreement for them to get rid of their weapons, but they dismantled that because Obama did it and he didn't like that. So that gave them actually the ability, technically, if they wanted to make these. So then you threaten them, but we already had them. You see how ridiculous this is? So overall, at the end of the day, if we're going to talk about Iran defying the will of and the expectations of the international community, what specifically, considering that we've been breaking our own treaties with everybody around the world, what about that? So does another country, a China, a Russia, whomever, have the ability and the right to come attack us because we left the climate accords, because we've been having protests over police brutality and ICE? Is that what that means? Or is that only applicable to weak brown countries? Which is at that point, you see what I'm saying, where I'm going with this? You can only get me with the platitudes for so long. I'm gonna need a little bit more than the platitudification of a war that we obviously know is a distraction from other horrible, horrendous situations. So Khamenei is dead. That is, I wasn't able to talk about that. We didn't know when I was streaming that on Saturday, but that is true and reported. An 86-year-old who's been in power for for many decades is dead. Now, one thing that I will say that for myself personally, is a topic of discussion connected to this that I guess grinds my gears a little bit. So this is a grinds my gears segment. I am familiar with how Khamenei got into power. I'm very familiar with how Khamenei got into power. I'm well spun on that history. I'm not well documented on, you know, everything that he's been doing since he's been in power, right? So I'm going to say that I don't personally know, so I can't say that he's this brutal, you know, authoritarian dictator. One, dictator is a little bit of a stretch because their political system is different than ours. So just because their supreme leader has been in charge for a long time, they do have elections and they do have heads of state and things such as that. So I'm not really into the, oh, he's a dictator because, you know, he's just been a head of state for however long. If we're gonna do that, then the king. What's that nigga then? The dictator? Are we going to condemn that, or is it because it's white and European we're cool with that, and because they're, you know, Arabic and Islamic we don't like it? So let's call a spade a spade. It is what it is. Now, I'm not saying that every decision that he made was good. I'm not saying every decision that he made was bad, but this whole conversation that people have, especially on the left, where it's, you know, oh, he was just terrible and repressive to his people and okay, so tell me, this is the same thing that they did with Maduro. Explain it to me. What did he do? What did he do that you know that he did that's so terrible? And then after you answer that question, I want you to, you know, dig deep just a little bit and then think about how you're being repressed in your own country and how there are, I mean, maybe we can even get into it today, depending on time, how there is major attempts on destroying the internet right now. I don't know how long a stream like this or any stream, Hassan, even an Asmon Gold, even though he's on their side, I don't know how long a streams like this, the ability to speak freely online is going to last if they get into Section 230. So again, when it comes to having a guy who's been in charge for a long time, which I don't know. I want to have a serious good faith conversation about like what people mean when they say things such as that. Because when it's all said and done, we quote unquote think that we have a two-party system and we switch our leaders all the time. Do we? Have we? Are you sure? Are you sure about that? I mean, I can go get the Robinson meme. You sure about that? I get a soundboard. I don't like that. I'm 40. Y'all are weird with the soundboard. I'd like that when I was 25. But are you sure about that? Are you sure? And these are this is the reason why I'm coming back. This is why I came back. This is the reason why stream is here. And even if the timing of it, when, you know, not doing it in the morning or whatever, may or may not happen, this stream will continue. Because I'm personally not satisfied with the level of conversation that we're having, especially considering that we are full blown in a fascist takeover, fascist coup, if you will, right now. This is what they're doing. They've been stealing money. They are violating the Constitution almost every single day, if not every single day. They're kidnapping American citizens. They're kidnapping, I mean, even though they're undocumented, they're human beings. So we're full blown into a fascist coup attempt takeover administration regime. And, you know, we kind of need to step up the level of what the F are we going to do about this. Democrats are a bunch of pussies. Republicans are a bunch of pussies because they're complicit, even though a lot of them are disagree, but they're not going to say that publicly. So we got a bunch of cowards. We have weak conversation going on, and when it comes to these conversations, a reason why I want to have these streams, and another reason why I want these streams to get to a point where the conversation in chat, whether it be in chat or if I figure out a call line thing, I don't know. I'm not trying to like debate, but I want to have a conversation about what you mean about things you say. And that's the reason why I'm breaking down this aside with this Khamenei thing about, oh, he's a terrible leader. We can think two things at once, and he's a terrible leader that had to go, and he was repressing his people. And yes, I can agree that there is governmental, political, policy, system change that needs to happen all over the place. But we need to be very careful about how we're wording things. And again, just like the New Zealand blurb that we read, what do you mean that, you know, they're threatening New Zealand of all places? What do you mean they're threatening international peace? So what do they do? Tell me what it is. You can't just say they did that and then we can just bomb them. You can't just say he's a bad leader and just bomb them. Because if that's the case, then there's almost every leader in the South of America, the southern states, all those states, if we were to do a survey and list it all out, they're failed states. So do we need to bomb Alabama? You see where we're going? See where I'm going with this? So the second part of the statement that the left does, where it's like, oh, you know, we can also agree that this is illegal. Yes, just say that part. Don't talk about Iran if you don't know about Iran. I know about Iran from 1953 to about 1980 something. I don't know about Iran currently. So because of that, I'm not about to just sit here and say what you think you want me to say because that's what you want me to say. I don't know. Hopefully we find out as we go through these things. If there's some things that you guys know that I might need to know, or some sources that I might need to look into, might even get some books. Actually, I think I'm going to need to get some books because we're going to be dealing with this war for a long time. So I'm going to spin myself up. So that's what I'm going to be doing here in the next few months. Keeping myself up to date on what Iran actually was going through, and who Khamenei actually was. Because to be honest with you, for what I do know about the history of Iran and where Khamenei came from, if we want to talk about 1953 all the way leading up to 1979, which we do need to talk about 1953. That's one thing that Saturday, and any time that I mention Iran, and for those that don't know, I should make a video of like these common things that I talk about all the time, so then people have like a place that they can go to like hear the background of this. But one of my favorite rants in the world is to talk about how Rick Ross, the rapper, stole Freeway Ricky Ross, the drug dealer's name. And right now, if you ever see Rick Ross, the rapper, currently, right now, he cannot say legally Rick Ross. He cannot say I'm Rick Ross. That's why whenever you see him, he say I'm Ricky Rose, you know, I'm the boss, I'm any other derivative of Rick Ross except for Rick Ross, because legally he can't say that anymore. Now, this conversation connects to the proliferation of cocaine in the United States of America, which connects to the Iran-Contra conflict, which connects to Israel and giving all the weapons, and the embassy that Trump mentioned in his speech, and the October surprise of Ronald Reagan and getting the hostages out of the embassy. That's all connected to Freeway Ricky Ross, which then is connected to the coup in 1953 that BP, British Petroleum Oil Company, along with the British government and the United States government and their intelligence agencies, did a coup in Iran to depose the democratically elected president and to elect put in the Shah. of Iran, who was then a brutal dictator who murdered hundreds of thousands of his own people. So what are we talking about here? Because the reason why I'm talking about it like that is who the son of that guy is, who the president is in talks with in putting in as a puppet leader of Iran. So Trump's been talking about 1953. And if you don't know about Iran in 1953, then you might need to shut the fuck up about Iran in 2025. You might. You just might. The death to America thing, not good look. Don't say that. That's not a thing that we should, even for any adversary that we do have. I'm not an adversary to, people who did not conduct a genocide or agree with a genocide. I disagree with the people who conduct and agree with the genocide. So we need to be nuanced, right? Maybe not say those harsh words, but if you understood what those people went through from 1953, well, before then, but 1953 is when things kicked off, up until that point, up until 1979, when Khomeini came back and did the Iranian Revolution and held the hostages and did all those things to let them, and then became the Islamic Republic. The things kind of make a little bit of sense. So these are the things that I'm talking about, that when I'm seeing these headlines and I'm seeing these platitudes and I'm seeing these statements, that's not tracking for what I know is documented and how things actually work. So let's stop saying, unless you are going to give an example outside of the most recent protests, because to be honest with you, I think those recent protests are not the Iranian people. Speculation time, okay? Not trying to be a conspiracy theorist. I'm just looking at we could look at some reports. So let's probably do that. Let's go to Iranian protests. I think that those protests were spurred on by the United States and the intelligence apparatus, because they don't make too much sense. And pro-Pakistan, that's not what I'm looking for. But anyway, but the point that I'm trying to make is again, I'm not saying that Iran should kill their protesters or anything such as that, or that they should have killed their protesters because the United States was involved in the protests. I'm saying that world leaders have decisions that are made and there are events that happen, and we need to look at these things as a whole. The deaths with those protests are something that I would say is heavy-handed and something that's not agreed upon, that should be happening, that world leaders should be doing. Since that's the case, what else? I'm gonna need something else if we're going to come after these world leaders like this, and then not our own. Because if that's the case, then serve up Obama. I'm cool with it. Based off of the criteria that you would say someone would be a repressive, leader who has killed troops abroad. Biden, Obama, Trump, Bush, all of them. So so that's what I'm talking about. Like, what are we talking about? What criteria are we using here? Are we using brown and scary? Because if that's the case, that's not really going to track on my end of it. I'm gonna need a little bit more than brown and scary. Therefore, when he kills people abroad, it's bad. But then when we do it, there's a justified reason for it. I think that's bullshit. I think you're gonna need to give me a little bit more than that. And that's not what's happening right now. So, all right, dozens of strikes Sunday. It was, Israel's military said it carried out strikes in central and western Iran. It said more than 30 targets were hit. All right, so we got hundreds of targets going on. Khamenei family members killed in the attacks. The daughter and son-in-law of the Iranian supreme leader were killed. Also, it's another thing to think of that, you know, that the administration feels, and I'm pretty sure that those headlines will come up as we go past through the day. I don't know what it is, but I'm pretty sure Iran has a secession method when a government were to fall apart like this. So the fact that there is talks with the Shah's son, the crown prince or whatever they want to call him, I think it's also just as ridiculous. And to me, it's like, what do you think this is a game? Iran declares 40-day mourning period for Khamenei. Iran's government declared 40 days of public mourning and 7-day nationwide public holiday to commemorate Khamenei's death. Fair enough. Iranians seen cheering in Tehran. I don't care about that. I think I when it comes to that stuff, I don't know. Iranian cabinet warns that this great crime will never go unanswered. Okay. Iranian state television, an anchor broke in to read the announcement of Khamenei's death. To the noble and proud people of Iran, with ultimate grief and sorrow, this is to inform you that following the barbaric attack by the criminal governments of America and the evil Zionist regime, the true example of faith, jihad, and resistance, the supreme leader of the revolution, Grand Ayatollah Khamenei, achieved the blessing of martyrdom. That is a lot of words. Air defenses open fire in Tehran. Revolutionary Guard says the most intense offensive operation ever, coming to target Israel and U.S. Mideast bases. Lord, I'm worried about U.S. cities. That's what I'm worried about. Because even though I think that this administration and their sycophants and the cowardly liberals that are allowing this to happen think this is a game, I don't think this is a game. And it hasn't been a game since Trump killed their military leader in 2020. It hasn't been a game. They've been I'm telling y'all, man, they got a laundry list they've been holding in their back pocket, and we just want to stoke the flames. All right. Raise black flag in Iran's Mashhad. Mourners raise a black flag, black mourning flag over the Imam Reza shrine in Mashhad. Okay. Debris from aerial interception causes fire at major Dubai port. A council has formed to govern Iran after the killing of Iran. See, this is what I was talking about. We'll figure it out. So again, the fact that the president thinks that he can just put in whoever he wants is childish, because there's a council. Oh, look, a council has formed to govern Iran after the killings of Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The council is enshrined in law in the Islamic Republic. Exactly. The council is made up of Iran's sitting president, the head of the country's judiciary, and a member of the Guardian Council chosen by Iran's Expediency Council, which advises the supreme leader and settles disputes with parliament. Iran's reformist president, Masoud, I'm going to need to learn how to pronounce that. Sorry, brother. How do you pronounce that?
Pishkian.
Pishkian. Okay. All right. Got it. My bad. Iran's reformist President Pishkian and hardline judiciary chief. Oh, Lord have mercy. What are you doing to me today? How am I? What? This? Okay. Can we? The judiciary chief, guys, they're on it. Iranian law says the assembly of experts must, as soon as possible, pick a new supreme leader. Wait. So let's highlight this here. And remember this, because again, I'm pretty sure I'm going to scroll up and read some bullshit from Trump. Iranian law says the assembly of experts must, as soon as possible, pick a new supreme leader. The assembly of experts, not Trump. Let's see. Chinese organization is registering citizens in Iran for evacuation to neighboring countries, according to a Chinese media report. More than 200 Chinese are scattered across Iran. Tan Kai, the president of Iran Federation of Chinese Organizations, told the Global Times newspaper. The group is making evacuation preparations at the instruction of the Chinese embassy, Tan said. An embassy statement said the land borders with Azerbaijan, Armenia, and Turkey were open for individuals wishing to depart on their own. In Israel, the Chinese embassy advised citizens to move to safe areas away from the centers, of Tel Aviv, Haifa, and Jerusalem, and airports, power stations, and similar sites. It said it would begin registering citizens on Sunday who wish to evacuate to Egypt and cannot do so on their own. More explosions in Dubai. Oh, so that's where we are? That's up till yesterday. That's where we were up till yesterday. All right. So, yeah, that's the thing I was going to talk about. So the U.S. military said Kuwait mistakenly shot down 3 American fighter aircraft during a combat mission, though all 6 pilots ejected safely and were in stable condition. So there's that. We're attacking ourselves. Great. The war in the Middle East expanded on multiple fronts on Monday. As attacks from Iran and Iranian-backed militias struck Israel and Arab states, as well as U.S. military targets in the region. I read that paragraph already. Israel and the United States continue to strike Iran while Israeli forces respond to attacks on Iranian-backed Hezbollah militant group by hitting targets in southern Lebanon, where at least 31 were killed, 149 injured. The war began on Saturday, killing Khamenei in a joint U.S.-Israeli strike that reverberated around the globe. Reactions to Khamenei's death range from jubilation to condemnation, while the escalating conflict has caused canceled flights, deadly protests, suspending shipping, and soaring oil prices, which we will definitely get into here today and possibly shortly, because there's not much else that I can think of unless there's something that you guys want to talk about the strikes. I mean, I definitely want to know about the reactions, because we're going to look into that probably after I read this article. Yeah. The Iranian Red Crescent Society on Monday said that the attacks on 131 cities have killed at least 555 people so far in the Islamic Republic. Strikes in Tehran apparently took Iran's state television off the air. The joint U.S.-Israeli strike on Iran stoked fears of a wider war and damage to the world economy. Meanwhile, Iran has expanded its attacks to regional oil infrastructure, directly targeting the lifeblood of the region's economy. Citing the war and attacks on its facilities in Qatar, state-owned firm Qatar Energy said it would stop its production of liquefied natural gas, taking one of the world's top suppliers off the market. 3 U.S. service members were killed in the Saturday attack on Iran, while another died on Monday from injuries sustained during the initial operation, according to U.S. Central Command. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth told U.S. conference at the Pentagon on Monday that the U.S.-Israeli campaign was the most precise aerial operation in history and decried Tehran's expansionist and Islamist regime. Expansionist? Oh my God, this is what I'm talking about. This is okay. That's why I want to hear their statements, because Iran didn't take the president of Venezuela and is destabilizing Cuba and then attacked Iran on top of any other shit that I've been failing to mention right now. Greenland, I forgot about that on Saturday. The bullshit with Greenland. Like, why are we even talking about? I mean, there is a billionaire weirdo reason why they're talking about Greenland, but this is what I'm talking about. That's expansionist. And if they're going to be an Islamist regime, well, based off how Pete Hegseth and his weirdos buddies talk, the United States of America is an expansionist Christian nationalist regime. What the hell are we talking about here, bro? Ugh, bro, this is so ridiculous, and that we have to pay for it. In a video posted Sunday, President Donald Trump said that the operation in Iran, which he described as one of the most complex, most overwhelming military offenses the world has ever seen, will continue until all of our objectives are achieved. Okay, so then you're gonna need to get congressional authorization, my guy. So when's that gonna happen? And then when you don't get congressional authorization, I think what it needs to be war powers, Massey, Kona. I'm spelling that wrong. War Powers Act. I want to see if they have in here, that they are going to limit the time period that it's going to take, because I think the current war powers, if I'm not mistaken, is he's got to give reasons why it needs to happen. They need to vote on it. And if he doesn't have any approval, then he has to end operations 60 days after approval wasn't given. But I think I may be conflating the two. That's why I want to double check. Rule construction regarding intelligence sharing, rules authorized military force, consent with the poor powers is nothing consent, but blah, blah, blah. Well, that's it. Congress has the sole power to declare war. Congress has not declared war. Anytime the United States Armed Forces are engaged in hostilities outside the territory of the United States, its possessions of territories without a declaration of war or specific statutory authorization, such forces shall be removed by the President if Congress so directs. Termination of the use of United States forces hostilities, Republic of Iran. Terminate. Is this the new one? Because this sounds recent, but anyway, terminate the use of United States Armed Forces from hostilities against the Republic of Iran or any of its parts unless explicitly authorized by declaration of war or specific authorization for use of military force against Iran. Nothing in this section shall be construed to prevent the United States from defending itself from imminent attack. But see, that's the thing. The thing is I'm gonna bomb you. Okay, I'm gonna back up. And I think that's the if there is one thing protecting the cities from attack, is if Iran attacks the United States, like the land of the United States. At that point, all cards are off the table, especially with this administration. So that's not heartwarming, but at least there is something. Okay. Iran to name a new leader. In the wake of Khamenei's death, Iran's Provisional Governing Council is expected to name a new supreme leader. Even before the weekend's deadly strikes, Iran's theocracy has struggled with growing dissent following nationwide protests over the economy that morphed into anti-government demonstrations. Activists say Iran's crackdown on the protests killed thousands. Yes, so, I mean, their economy is screwed up because we're sanctioning them. And we're sanctioning them because they're not doing their nuclear, getting rid of their nuclear program in a way that the administration wants them to, which is stupid. I mean, this all is seemingly connected to each other. Yeah, that's stupid. But anyway, Israel said it has worked with the United States for months to plan the attacks. So you were planning this anyway. That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, so you've been planning this for months, but it's spur of events because okay. The U.S. military said targets in Iran included Revolutionary Guard command facilities, air defense capabilities, missile and drone launch sites, and military airfields. One of the first strikes hit near the offices of 86-year-old Khamenei, who had ruled since 1989 and held ultimate power. Iranian state media reported Khamenei's death, but did not provide details. Israel said it also killed dozens of other top Iranian military officials, and that its subsequent strikes in Lebanon had killed a Hezbollah intelligence official. The Trump administration has asserted that Iran had been rebuilding its nuclear program. Can you prove that? Though Tehran has insisted it has not enriched nuclear fuel since June and that its program is for peaceful purposes. Iran strikes Israel and U.S. bases in retaliation. Iran has launched retaliatory missiles and drones targeting Israel and nearby Arab Gulf countries hosting U.S. forces. Iran's foreign minister has suggested his country's military units are acting independently from any central government control after being pressed about attacks on Gulf Arab nations that have served as intermediaries for Tehran in the past. Several ships have been attacked in the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow mouth of the Persian Gulf through which a fifth of traded oil passes, and where Iran has threatened attacks. Shipping companies suspended their vessels through the Suez Canal, adding to fears the strikes could rattle global markets, which is what we are going to get into literally after these next few paragraphs. Elsewhere, a drone targeted an oil tanker in the Gulf of Oman, killing one crew member, the Sultanate said. Fire and smoke poured out of the U.S. Embassy compound in Kuwait after an Iranian attack on a small Mideast nation, which also reported that debris had fallen on one of its oil refineries. In Bahrain, the island kingdom, that is home to the U.S. Navy's Fifth Fleet, one person was killed by shrapnel from an intercepted missile. Bahrain says it has intercepted 61 missiles and 34 attack drones launched against it, though some fires have gone through, striking buildings in the naval base. In Israel, 11 people have been killed as loud explosions caused by missile impacts or interceptions could be heard in Tel Aviv. Israel's rescue services said that 9 people were killed and more wounded in a strike that hit a synagogue in the central town of Bet Shemesh. An Iraqi Shiite militia claimed a drone attack Monday targeting U.S. troops at the airport in Iraq's capital, Baghdad. Saudi Arabia's oil refinery came under attack Monday from drones. The kingdom's defense ministry said, with authorities downing the incoming aircraft. Israel warns of prolonged conflict in Lebanon. I don't care about them. yeah, that is, yeah, that's what's going on with the war right now. Oh, there we go. Hegseth doesn't rule out U.S. troops on the ground. Okay. No, but even if you're not ruling it out, you need authorization. So I don't know why you think you can walk around with a big dick, think that you can just talk like this and you not be held accountable for it later. Like, one thing for these midterms, and for, you know, these political leaders out there, for what I'm looking for, which I'm not going to see, but what I'm looking for is someone to stand up to their bravado. And I'm not saying to, like, you know, walk around like act all hard or anything like that, but like Pete Hegseth is a certain kind of like ballsy bully that I personally cannot take it. I could not take it. If I was a military leader, like if I was like a general or something, I would have to retire. There is no way that this piece of shit is gonna talk to my troops any way, shape, or form the way that he does. This mannish, you know, manly, what he thinks is manly bravado, and oh, I'm working out all the time. Bro, you're an alcoholic, bro. Cut it out. I can't take it. This is bully behavior. So, you know, I'm looking for, especially when it comes to like who's gonna be like leader on the Democratic side or whatever. Fine, be a liberal. You're not as left as I am. Sure, I get it, but I need you to stop acting like a cowardly dog. Even though courage was a G, but you get my point. I want someone who is got the balls to stand up to these bullies, because this is ridiculous. Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth, along with General Kane, held the Trump administration's first news briefing since Saturday's strikes against Iran. Hegseth said that the U.S. Israeli strikes in Iran are not a regime change war. Okay, but so then what is it? But the world is better off with the Iranian regime changed. Like this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. This is why personally I am not good in corporate settings, because what the fuck, bruh? Do you really think that I'm that stupid? Okay, and then I just gotta play ball because we're in a corporate setting? The fuck out of here with this, bro. He also did not rule out the possibility of U.S. troops being deployed on the ground in Iran. Hegseth said the operation has a clear, devastating, decisive mission to destroy the missile threat from Iran. So is that what this is about? And then if that's the case, you did that last year, I thought. So what are we doing? What are we doing? This is absolutely ridiculous. I want to see, is there like, I want to see some video. Is there a video? That's what I need to gather. I need to gather when I'm off stream. I need to gather where I'm getting video sources from.
Turns out the regime who chanted death to America and death to Israel was gifted death from America and death from Israel.
Oh,
this
Jesus
is not
Christ.
a so-called regime change war, but the regime sure did change, and the world is better off for it.
So is that what you do? You just twist words around? I didn't go pee on myself. Myself got to pee. You see, I'm not a Christian nationalist. I'm just a nationalist that wants to exterminate people that I don't like. And I'm a Christian. You see? It's every Pete Hex, I fucking hate this guy, bro. Come get me, bro. You just I can't. You're just gonna have to, investigate me, bro.
And political left screaming
Investigate and come get
wars.
me. There's no way I'm gonna be in a room with
This
this
is not
fuck.
Iraq.
I cannot stand this guy.
This is not endless. I was there for both. Our generation knows better, and so does this president. He called the last 20 years of nation-building wars dumb, and he's right. This is the opposite. This operation is a clear, devastating, decisive mission. Destroy the missile threat, destroy the Navy, no nukes.
What threat? What are you talking about? What Navy threat? I don't understand. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Oh, Lord of mercy. Top U.S. general says Iran objectives will take time. I thought you said this wasn't forever. On March 2nd, U.S. General Dan Kane said the United States and Israel strikes on Iran expanded for a third day and warned this is not a single overnight operation. Okay, then you need authorization, bitch. Like, what are we talking about? The President Donald Trump launched campaign said, yeah, we know. Kuwait's air defense mistakenly shot down 3 American F-15E fighter jets during an Iranian attack. A 4th service member died Monday, and U.S. forces intercepted hundreds of ballistic missiles. The United States continued to send additional troops to the Middle East, while military experts warn power alone may not oust Iran's conservative clerical leaders. Launched Saturday, the campaign has been called the biggest U.S. foreign policy gamble in decades and carries high stakes for regional partners with hundreds of intercepted ballistic missiles, indicating prolonged instability. And you got to go to work today. Oh man, I don't get it. I guess, bro. I guess. Pentagon downplayed.
A blistering tech rally has pulled up South Koreans.
Sorry, go away. The Pentagon downplayed concerns on Monday that the U.S. attack on Iran risked plunging the United States into a new open-ended conflict in the Middle East, even as officials declined to offer a timeline and cautioned they expected more U.S. casualties. The United States and Israel launched their most ambitious attacks on Iran in decades. Yeah, we read that already. To the media outlets and political left screaming endless wars, stop. This is not Iraq. This is not endless. I need to calm down. I even reading his quotes drives me up a wall. Hegseth mocked a reporter who asked about the timeline for the campaign, saying Trump would not be pinned down, even after U.S. President suggested on Saturday that strikes on Iran could go on for the next 4 weeks. Then you need authorization. Ugh, Lord of mercy. Need authorization. What is Congress talking about? Let's see if we can find something on that. What? What? Why is Melania Trump chairing a UN Security Council meeting? Melania Trump will preside over the United Nations. Oh, this is a couple of days ago, but why? While the First Lady has shown an interest in children's welfare, particularly in Russia's war in Ukraine, it's hard to imagine her address it. I don't understand. This is literally like a circus. Oh, Lord. Let's see. Guys, oh, Lord. Listen. You're missing the point. You're missing the point. AI is bad. Anthropic having Cloud being and the whole Pentagon situation, that's a weird, unfortunate thing. But then you don't then reward Anthropic with making them think that you need more AI. That's not. Trump hacks Iranian state TV networks with video message urging residents to rise up. Iranian state TV has reportedly been hacked with a message from President Trump urging the Iranian people to overthrow their government. A social media video emerging Sunday shows a clip of Trump's speech delivered early Saturday morning urging. Oh, so basically they played his. Is that what you're saying? So why is this only being reported on the right? And it sounds fake, especially considering no real places are reporting it. Terrible. Let's see. Oh, man.
Joining me right now is the top Democrat in the House, Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. Leader, thank you for being here today.
Good morning.
An incredible chain of events that have happened in the last 48 hours and where we are in this moment. One thing we know is you're a member of the Gang of Eight. You're going to be getting a briefing later this morning. What is the biggest question you have going in that you want to, or going to say must have answered by the time you come out?
Well, the administration has failed to provide any justification for these preemptive strikes. And so we'll continue to look for information that they owe the American people to suggest that there was intelligence indicating that Iran was prepared to strike the United States. Nothing has been presented to justify what's taken place up until this point, and the administration has an obligation to be able to prove that.
Officials on Saturday said that there was intelligence that Iran could be preparing for a possible preemptive strike. That was contradicted on Sunday by other intelligence, as reported to our sources. What you are saying is you have heard no reason for why Donald Trump ordered this strike now versus 6 months from now.
There's no indication that Iran had reconstituted its nuclear program. There's no indication that Iran was prepared to strike the United States preemptively or to strike any of our interests in the region. And there certainly is no justification for a regime change war. The American people want us to focus on making...
Go back. What did you just say?
Sources. What you are saying is you have heard no reason for why Donald Trump ordered this strike now versus 6 months from now.
There's no indication that Iran had reconstituted its nuclear program. There's no indication that Iran was prepared to strike the United States preemptively or to strike any of our interests in the region. And there certainly is no justification for a regime change war. The American people want us to focus on making their life better, making their life more affordable, not getting involved in another endless war in the Middle East that is going to end in failure. This administration somehow found the resources, has found billions of dollars for bombs, but can't find any money to actually bring down the high cost of living here in the United States of America.
A couple quick things. CENTCOM has now reported 4 U.S. service members have been killed in action. Do you know anything about that?
Other than the public reports, nothing has been presented to us, but we mourn with the families of those slain American heroes. And not another single American life should be lost before Congress has had the ability to actually weigh in, which is our plan this week.
I want to get to that in just 1 second. Obviously, you are from New York. New York always a target and a concern. The governor had announced that police are increasing their presence at several places, including religious and diplomatic sites in the city. Honestly, Congressman, Leader, how concerned should New Yorkers be about retaliation now?
Well, we should all be concerned. That's part of the problem, that Donald Trump has launched this unauthorized war in the Middle East.
You think it is more dangerous in New York today than it was 48 hours ago?
I think it's fair to say. We'll see what is presented to us in the Gang of Eight briefing, but that's certainly going to be a point that we're going to continue to make. How does this make any of us safer here in the United States of America, launching this preemptive war against Iran that apparently is a regime change war that has no justification for?
He ain't even saying nothing. We heard you the first time. Yeah.
Over the past 36 hours, the United States and its partners have launched Operation Epic Fury, one of the largest, most complex, most overwhelming military offensives the world has ever seen. Iran's formerly supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, is dead. As one nation, we grieve for the true American patriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation, even as we continue the righteous mission for which they gave their lives. We pray for the full recovery of the wounded and send our immense love and eternal gratitude to the families of the fallen. And sadly, there will likely be more. Before it ends, that's the way it is. Likely be more, but we'll do everything possible where that won't be the case. But America will avenge their deaths and deliver the most punishing blow to the terrorists who have waged war against basically civilization. They have waged war against civilization
How?
itself.
When did they wage
resolve,
war?
and likewise,
You waged war.
that of Israel
Who waged
has never
war?
been stronger. America is now again the richest, most powerful nation in the world by far. But the only reason we enjoy the quality of life that we do and the freedom and security is we have done things that others are unable to do.
This dude is so illiterate.
It's because of warriors who are willing to lay down their lives to do battle with our enemies. This wretched and vile man.
Hold
had
on.
the blood of
What the fuck did he
hundreds
just
of
say?
warriors when
That was
freedom
like
and security
20
is
seconds
we
of
have
just
this
mishmash.
most powerful
What?
nation in the world by far. Like possible fallen.
I'm going
And
back like
sadly,
30 seconds.
There will likely be more. Before it ends, that's the way it is.
Him and
Likely
Pete
more.
Hegseth just
We'll do everything possible.
irritate the fuck out of me when they
That won't
speak
be the case.
because they're so
But
childish.
America will avenge their deaths and deliver the most punishing
Avenge
blow to the
deaths?
terrorists
Wait.
who
Wait.
waged
So you're
war
trying to
against-
avenge deaths
America will-
for people who died because you attacked.
possible, where that won't be the case. But America will avenge their deaths and deliver the most punishing blow to the terrorists who have waged war against basically civilization. They have waged war against civilization itself. Our resolve, and likewise that of Israel, has never been stronger. America is now again the richest, most powerful nation in the world by far. But the only reason we enjoy the quality of life that we do and the freedom and security is we have done things that others are unable to do. But it's because of warriors who are willing to lay down their lives to do battle with our enemies. This wretched and vile man had the blood of hundreds and even thousands of Americans on his hands and was responsible for the slaughter of countless thousands of innocent people all across many countries. Combat operations continue at this time in full force, and they will continue until all of our objectives are achieved. We have very strong objectives. I once again urge the Revolutionary Guard, the Iranian military, police, to lay down your arms and receive full immunity or face certain death. It will be certain death. Won't be pretty. I call upon all Iranian patriots who yearn for freedom to seize this moment, to be brave, be bold, be heroic,
Lord.
and take back your country. America is with you.
What the fuck does this have to do with Charlie Kirk? What do we... Okay. I think everyone's just lost the plot. Lord. I see why people don't want to be or stay informed, because there's just so much bullshit that goes on. Yeah. So Congress ain't gonna do shit. Yeah. So the next thing I guess we'll get into is this oil prices. Let's start with NPR. Oil prices surge and stocks fall amid fears over Iran war. Global crude oil prices surged about 8% and stocks fell as the war with Iran enters its third day. Brent crude, the global benchmark, was trading in the high 70s on Monday morning following the effective halt of tanker traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. That's a sharp rise from before the U.S. and Israel attacked, but far from a worst case scenario, so that's good. Analysts have warned that prices could top $100 a barrel if oil trade is disrupted for a prolonged period of time, or if the war spills over into neighboring countries and destroys oil infrastructure, which I think it already has. Saudi Arabia says it has shot down drones targeting an oil refinery, while Qatar Energy says 2 natural gas facilities have been attacked. Meanwhile, stock markets declined, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average falling over 400 points. Oh, Pam Bondi. Pam, the Dow done dropped to 400 points, Pam. So you gonna release the files now? Oh, Pam. This is how ridiculous. These are our leaders, man. Investors worry that a spike in energy prices could lead to higher inflation at a time when price gains seem to have been slowly moderating. Gasoline prices likely to rise. Natural gas spikes. Global energy markets were closed on Saturday when the U.S. and Israel attacked Iran. When trading opened on Saturday night, prices briefly topped $80 a barrel before settling slightly. Patrick DeHaan, an analyst with the app Gas Buddy, estimates that in the next few days, the spike in crude oil prices will push U.S. gasoline prices up by 10 to 30 cents on average, with some individual stations seeing prices rise as much as 85 cents. About 20% of global oil consumption passes through the Strait of Hormuz. 4 vessels have been hit in Gulf waters since the conflict began, with shipping companies and their insureds concerned about vessel safety. Tankers are not risking passage through the strait. Meanwhile, the strait is also a key choke point for trade in liquefied natural gas. The natural gas that's used to heat homes and make electricity, loaded into ships for easier global trade. European natural gas markets have surged more than 20%. After recent investments in natural gas terminals, the U.S. is the world's largest exporter of natural gas. Higher prices boost companies that send natural gas overseas, but contribute to rising electricity costs in the U.S. So, not only do we have looming rising oil prices, we are about to have rising energy costs on top of the rising energy costs that we have from AI. So great. Now we're going to have to pay even more while the rest of our money is going to war that we don't even have authorized. So great. Ah, man. Bias comparison. Left-leaning coverage frames the Mideast conflict as a war on Iran spreads, emphasizing the U.S.-Israeli strikes and the threat to the global economy with terms like choke. Right-leaning outlets, however, portray Iran war fallout and Middle East conflict erupts, focus on specific industry impacts and high inflation worries, de-emphasizing direct military actions. Center-leaning reports generally describe market fears as protracted conflict and raises worries about inflation without the same emotional intensity. While all acknowledging oil prices soar and stocks slump, the left uniquely cites specific analysts predicting oil could top $100 a barrel and gas prices could double. I mean, because not in the times when things, I wouldn't say fears, but in the times when things need to be stoked out and pulled out and whatever, that's what could happen if the strait continues to be shot and the vessels don't go through the choke point, if you will. They could, the oil is currently right now, let's see, oil prices. Oil currently right now is $71 a Brent crude, 78. $78, and and so that's up 5%. How to profit from the oil price crash. Wow. That's a way to look at the world. Oh, it had passed $80 a barrel. It was past $80 a barrel. Why won't you go to it? Dude, it like spiked. Someone made a lot of money then. Why won't you go to it? $80. What was that? However long ago? A few hours ago? It was up there. Oh, lordy lord. War in Iran spiked oil prices. Trump will decide how high they go. So this is one of those few times and chances when they say that the president or that the Biden and the oil prices, and people be like, oh, the president doesn't control oil prices, which is true unless you start a war that's not authorized for no reason, and the reasons that you give make no sense. Almost $80 a barrel, 13% from Friday. For all of Trump saying, hey, we took out Khamenei, we know exactly where he was. Apparently, we didn't do the same for Iran's attack capabilities. It seems like our plan was to take out Khamenei and hope for the best. Yeah, this was a dick measuring match. Very, very plain and simple on that. Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz, one of the most important shipping routes in the world. One of every 5 barrels travels through the strait. Major members of OPEC, the world dominant oil and crude gas cartel, rely almost entirely on the strait to get their product out of the region. As long as I've been in the oil market, Iran and the closure of the Strait of Hormuz has kind of been the ultimate risk scenario for prices, says Canadian oil market researcher Rory Johnston. Usually, he says, OPEC would respond to an international crisis that involves oil by increasing production. But if OPEC's emergency production is on the other side of the problem area, it doesn't do as much good. Johnston compares the region to a garden hose, where a kink in one section can decrease output. Throughout the weekend, while Iranian officials sent mixed messages on whether the strait is formally closed, traffic through the strait dropped to near zero. Insurance companies have jacked up policies on ships traveling through the strait, which is going to raise prices, while some ships have been hit by drone strikes. While what seems to be happening, Johnson says, is more of a voluntary closure than an official one. There are worse scenarios for oil prices that could unfold in the coming days than just a closure of the strait. In September 2019, drones hit major oil production facilities east of Saudi Arabian capital of Riyadh, while the Houthi rebel movement in Yemen publicly claimed responsibility for the attacks. U.S. officials blamed Iran. The attack temporarily shot oil prices up 15%. On Monday, Saudi officials said that they had closed a major domestic refinery following drone strikes, while a few other oil and gas fields across the region were also shut down. Qatar LNG, the country's state-run liquefied natural gas producer, said Monday was shutting down production due to drone strikes, sending gas prices in Europe spiking. Johnston says that continued serious strikes like these could have a massive impact on prices. Going back to the garden hose thing, that would be more like taking a gun and blasting off a faucet. Yo, this Johnston dude is not playing around. He's trying to get you to understand the point of how crazy this is. Clayton Siegel, a senior fellow at the Center of Strategic and International Studies, a think tank based in Washington, D.C., agrees. The more desperate Iran becomes, the greater likelihood for it to use energy as leverage to advance its interests. If tankers abandon the Gulf trade in large numbers, and certainly if major oil infrastructure is damaged, we're likely to see triple-digit crude prices again. Despite pouring money into Trump's re-election campaign, U.S. oil producers have been facing a rough year of rock bottom prices. So realistically, is this why we took over Venezuela? I've been hearing people say that we had to make sure that what we took from Venezuela sold to be able to afford to do this. And that is making way more sense every sentence I read about all this oil stuff. In January, oil magnate Harold Hamm, a key donor influence on Trump's pro-fossil fuel messaging, announced he would stop shale production in North Dakota for the first time in 30 years due to low prices. Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022, which sent oil prices skyrocketing to nearly 100 a barrel, was a financial boon for for U.S. producers. Any similar disruptions to the global market that drive prices up will probably help oil companies in the U.S. The world's largest exporter of oil and gas. So you strike Iran. Iran closes the Strait of Hormuz, or yes, it's temporary closed right now, not officially closed like we read earlier. So vessels coming through the strait are near zero. Insurance companies are raising rates on tankers and ships and vessels in the area. Vessels and ships in the area are being attacked. The price of oil is going up. Depending on how long this lasts, which when we just listened to Trump, he said that this could take up to 4 weeks, which is a prolonged incident in or conflict in my eyes. The oil and gas companies who just made a whole shit ton of money from Venezuela are going to make a whole shit ton of money from this Iran thing as well. Wow. It may seem strange for an American president to launch an international war that would choke oil prices during a midterm year when energy prices were already a contentious issue. Politico reported on Sunday that Democrats are already strategizing on how to message the attacks around energy prices. Slocum says that American consumers could see gasoline prices jump in response as early as this week. Over the long term, products like plastics and fertilizer, which both use fossil fuels as feedstock, could also be affected, leading to other price hikes down the road. In the next few weeks, analysts say signals from the White House and the region will have major impact on how high oil prices go. Does the Iranian government move to quickly end the fighting, or does it gear up for protracted conflict? Siegel says. Do the neighboring Gulf states more assertively back the U.S.-Israeli offense, or even actively join it? Does Trump message a quick wind down or readiness for weeks and months of welfare? In June, oil prices temporarily spiked after U.S. bombed Iran's nuclear facilities. The intensity on Iranian response and seemingly disorganization from the White House this time may have a longer effect on prices. I don't think Trump has the wherewithal, the stomach for this type of engagement we're currently barreling towards, says Johnston. I like this Johnston. Who is this guy? Who is this guy? Hold on. Where'd you go? Where's your Roy Johnston, market researcher, Canadian oil market researcher? Oops. You know what? He looks like the type. Roy Johnson is an oil market analyst and widely quoted expert in global commodities markets, specializing in the North American energy industry. He is the founder and CEO of Commodity Context, an independent oil market research platform, and a lecturer at the University of Toronto's Munk School of Global Affairs and Public Policy. Roy previously led commodity economics at a major resource-focused Canadian bank where he advised executives. Okay, that's who that guy is. That makes sense. He looks like the type. Oh, man. Lord. That's terrible. All right. What else do we got? iPhone 17. I do not care about the iPhone. Big wave in war yet to come. Business and markets. So this is weird. So on this one, oh, this is the UK, but on this one it says, and there's a blind spot on the left that drivers warn petrol prices could rise. And the left ain't really talking about it, but this is in Europe, so who cares? For our intents and purposes. Oh man. U.S. President Donald Trump said on Sunday that Iranian's new leadership wants to talk to him and that he has agreed, according to an interview with The Atlantic magazine. They want to talk and I've agreed to talk, so I'll be talking to them. They should have done it sooner. They should have given what was very practical and easy to do sooner. They waited too long. Trump did not specify who he would be speaking with or say whether it would occur Sunday or Monday. Iranian President, I forgot. Peshkian, yeah, that's what it was, said a leadership council composed of himself, the judiciary head, and a member of the powerful Guardians Council had temporarily assumed the duties of supreme leader following the death of Khamenei. Trump said some of the people who were involved in recent talks are no longer alive. Most of those people are gone. Yeah, that means that they would replace them with another one. Guy. They played too cute. Oh, God. I cannot stand these people. These people get on my nerves. Okay. So, at this point, what do we got? I could react to some things, but like I said, I needed to. Al Jazeera reports different CONTs. What does that mean? Why won't it go in? Anyway, Al Jazeera saying Qatar, not the U.S., shot down 2 Iranian jets. Is reporting that England is considering mass evacuations of its citizens. How the fuck do I have to search the internet for BBC and Al Jazeera English to get any substantial news? Everything in the U.S. is just happy to talk about straight up propaganda. President Trump told me tonight the U.S. had identified possible candidates to take over Iran, but they were killed in the initial attack. The attack was so successful it knocked out most of the candidates. It's not going to be anybody they were thinking of because they're all dead. Second or third place is dead. That's not how that works. According to Al Jazeera, Iran has secession plans 4 or 5 people deep. If I know this, how does the USA not? Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Oh man. So then let's go to Al Jazeera then. Or am I going to get in trouble? Am I going to get in trouble with YouTube? I don't care. Gas prices soars. Qatar energy halts natural gas. 3 U.S. fighters mistakenly shot. Israel intensifies war. Lebanon. Qatar shoots Iran jets. Iran hits Gulf energy sites as Tehran is bombed. Iran-aligned group claims 23 drone strikes across U.S. sites. 9 hospitals have been attacked by Israel. Oh, Jesus Christ. Amnesty calls for urgent probe into killings during Iran. So Starmer says Iran stepping up reckless strikes after bro, the way that these people talk piss me off. UK Prime Minister has defended his decision to keep Britain out of the US and Israel's initial attacks. That's good. That's one good thing that the loser's talking about. Jeez. This is definitely about to be a war. I mean, it is a war. Yeah.
There is a very significant development. An attack on a power plant water tank in Mesaid and an attack on the Ras Laffan export hub. This is a major part of Qatar's economic apparatus. The Ras Laffan liquid natural gas export hub is connected to one of the largest facilities in the world. Qatar, of course, shares one of the largest natural gas fields in the world with Iran, and this is the very lifeblood of the Qatari economy. This country is able to exist because of its ability to export natural gas. So this attack on this facility will be something that the Qataris will not be taking lightly. In a statement from the Qatari government, we hear that they say all damages and losses resulting from the attack will be assessed by the relevant authorities, so we can assume that there has been some kind of damage from this drone attack, and the ministry is also urging people to remain calm. At this stage, this level of attack, the consistency of attacks happening, not just on the U.S. bases. The government has said that they're also attacking infrastructure, civilian, and energy now. That is causing some good amount of panic. And as we are speaking, we can see a military helicopter flying overhead now. Military planes were also seen in the skies over Doha yesterday, a C-130 Hercules. We are seeing more and more military aircraft flying. It's easy to point out since the airspace has been closed to any commercial traffic. So this kind of security sweep happening is also becoming a common part of the skies over Doha. What we are seeing now with regards to Qatar is a very significant.
The killing of Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, US officials and even some celebratory rallies abroad might have you believe it's mission accomplished.
The mothership of terrorism is sinking. The captain is dead.
But let me explain why killing Khamenei doesn't mean what they say it does, that the Islamic Republic is over. First, the republic itself is designed to survive. It's a system, not a person. And that's codified in the constitution, which Iranians approved of through 2 national referendums. The killing of Khamenei has already triggered Article 111, which stipulates that in the event of a leadership vacancy, a temporary 3-member council takes over. Those members are the president, Masoud Pezeshkian, the head of the judiciary, Gholam Hossein Mohsenejai, and Ayatollah Alireza Orafi, a member of the 12-man Guardian Council. They manage the country until the Assembly of Experts can meet and elect a new leader. The Constitution says that's supposed to happen as soon as possible, but that's the unknown here: when and how. The Assembly's only ever convened once to choose a new leader, in 1989 when Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini died. The Constitution states that if the Assembly of Experts can't find a suitable leader, one of its members is to be elected. Now, the Supreme Leader had no publicly designated successor, but there had been discussions about one since last June's 12-day war. Some names have arisen: Mohammad Mehdi Mirbagheri Orafi himself, Hashem Hosseini Bushiri. Now, that's the official stuff, and whether that works depends on something else, the unofficial stuff. Although this temporary council is in charge, power centers in Iran currently revolve around unelected individuals and groups, often simply called the deep state by analysts. Now, that includes elite elements of the Revolutionary Guard. And we know that Iran's command structure and operational capabilities are working. The immediate retaliatory strikes on US bases in regional countries proves as much. And despite the heavy bombing, especially in Tehran, law and order seems to be maintained. As yet, there have been no public defections from the circle of elites, including in the IRGC, despite encouragement and claims by Donald Trump. Now, Trump has said he's planning to talk to Iran, but we don't know to whom or where the US and Israel will stop when it comes to killing people in positions of power. The US and Israel certainly show no signs of letting up. Will they just keep killing everyone until they find someone to work with? 3 days in, it's not looking like the regime change they say it is.
No, but they said it wasn't regime change, remember?
Since the killing of Iran's supreme leader,
Hegseth, this isn't the regime change. This is the change of the regime.
For 47 long years, the expansionist and Islamist regime in Tehran has waged a savage, one-sided war against America. They didn't always declare it openly, except for their constant chants of death to America. They did it through the blood of our people. Car bombs in Beirut, rocket attacks on our ships, murders at our embassies, roadside bombs in Iraq and Afghanistan, funded and armed by Iranian Quds Force and IRGC killers. My generation of veterans carry the names of brothers who never came home. Brothers butchered by Iranian-backed roadside bombs and well-armed militias, thousands of our own. We didn't start this war, but under President Trump,
How did you not start the war? Bro, these dudes are the worst.
Iran on February 28th, the Pentagon blacklisted Anthropic, one of America's biggest AI companies. But here's the twist. Turns out it had reportedly used Anthropic's AI model Claude to help with its military operation in Iran anyway. This includes intelligence assessment and simulating battle scenarios. The Pentagon's blacklisting of Anthropic was the culmination of a months-long dispute over how AI should be used in warfare and who controls it. The US Department of Defense had been threatening to blacklist Anthropic unless it removed Claude's guardrails for military use. It gave the AI company a deadline of February 27th to do so. While Anthropic had been fine to work with the military in general, it had 2 non-negotiable red lines. 1, no to mass surveillance of Americans, and 2, no to fully autonomous weapons without human input, as the technology is still prone to errors. When the Pentagon's deadline came, Anthropic refused to remove those guardrails. The next day, the US government said it would designate Anthropic a supply chain risk. This means anyone who wants to do business with the US military has to cut ties with Anthropic. Usually, this type of designation happens to foreign companies, not Silicon Valley startups. The timing of the deadline and the following US strike on Iran led many to speculate whether this was more than a coincidence. On the surface, the Pentagon may have publicly denounced Anthropic, but the reality of switching to a new AI system is messy, since Claude is deeply embedded in its classified network. This whole dispute raises questions over who should control AI in the military. Should a private company have a say in how its technology is used in warfare, or does a national
it should, especially if you're going to be using it to do war. Okay. So I'm kind of out of stuff. Unless there's something you guys want to talk about. Let's see. I'm over on Threads right now, and nothing's going on over there. I want to know what Congress is doing. Republican leaders, Mike Johnson, Thune. No, I want. Yeah, as far as Congress as a whole, there's no messages, or there's no statements. No intelligence. Iran planned first strike. Democrats criticize Trump's for waging war of choice. 3 U.S. troops killed. Yeah. So, yeah. What else is going on from your guys' point of view? Is there anything that hasn't been talked about that you want me to look up? I already talked about Zendaya. What's going on in sports? Here, let me do that. Sports. Let's see what the FIA is going to say about the races that are coming up in the next few weeks. The president of Formula One's governing body, the FIA, says it will prioritize safety and well-being as it decides what to do about upcoming races in the Middle East amid increasingly widespread conflict in the region. F1 is scheduled to race next month in Bahrain and Saudi Arabia, which have both been hit by attacks in recent days following joint strikes on Iran by the United States and Israel. The FIA statement also mentioned the World Endurance Championship, a leading sports car series that opens its season in Qatar at the end of this month. We are in close contact with all member clubs, championship promoters, teams, and colleagues on the ground as we monitor develops carefully and responsibly. Safety will be a well-being. And okay, yeah, they're gonna be safe when it comes to the races. We'll see, because there was Bahrain first, right? The Bahrain Grand Prix is the second Grand Prix, I believe. Testing, China, nope, it's the third. 4th in April, so it might be okay by then. Dude still needs authorization. Blind spot for the left. Who cares? Olympic champion Callie Humphreys expresses support for Trump as the most successful women's bobsled pilot, winning 6 Olympic gold medals. Humphreys supports President Trump and voted for him in 2024, defending U.S. men's hockey team, supports protecting women's sports via mandatory How is that protecting women's sports? You protect women's sports by funding it and allowing more women to be able to play sports. The fuck? Humphreys supports legal immigrant. I don't care. Who cares? That's why it's a blind spot on the left. Nobody cares. Vancouver Council motion to oppose ICE at World Cup is ruled out of order. During a council meeting Wednesday, Councillor Mike Klassen ruled the motion out of order because recent correspondence indicated ICE would not be present. Citing rights and safety concerns, Ryan described the proposal as preemptive, noting ICE has not been invited to operate in Vancouver. Legal Context notes that ICE has an administrative and liaison presence at the U.S. consulate in Vancouver, but U.S. law enforcement agencies cannot operate without explicit government authorization. An attempt to overturn Klassen's ruling fell one vote short. What? This doesn't make any sense. So basically it's saying because ICE is not going to operate in Vancouver. Oh, I see. Because the World Cup is in a bunch of different countries. This is in the continent, right? FIFA World Cup. I think it's this year it's going to be like in the whole continent, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember. Host countries and cities. So it's going to be all over. So they're saying that in Canada, they wanted to make sure that ICE wasn't there. If the motion had passed, it would have directed Sim to write to Federal Minister of Public Safety, Gary, whatever that is, requesting that they reject any additional deployment. It noted that ICE has an administration. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. Well, that's all I got for the day. Seems like nobody in chat has anything that they want to go over. So I will call it a day for today. But it's been real. Like and subscribe if you're still hanging out. And if you haven't already. And I'll probably see you tomorrow. If not tomorrow, Wednesday. All right. You guys have a good one.